not buying any more third generation Toyota Tacomas. I've learned my lesson after 5 or 6. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. And that's right, I'm not buying any more third generation Toyota Tacomas. I have finally learned my lesson. You know, I've had 5, maybe 6 of them, and I'm not doing it anymore. Now, you might be thinking, well, gee, Rob, no kidding. They're coming out with a Gen 4. You're not buying any more third gens because we know you never buy used. Well, the theory is that they're coming out with a 2023 Gen 4, but maybe not. The 2023 could still be a Gen 3, and we still have the rest of this year left. So there is time. And I'm going to make a little confession. I have thought briefly, maybe a little more than briefly, about trading this one in and picking up another Gen 3. But then I kicked myself. I stopped myself. I think, Rob, what the heck are you doing? You know, I'm on YouTube all the time watching other people's stuff, content, whatever, and I see people getting new trucks. Some that have just gotten one recently, like my buddy Yang over there. He just traded his brand new one out for another brand new one. Different color, really almost the same truck. I've done it myself. I'm not faulting anybody for doing it. I've been there. But there are a few reasons as to why I am not getting another Gen 3. I'll keep this one. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get a Gen 4. You know that's coming, but that's a whole nother topic. Number 1, I have learned they don't really change. You know, they add a few things here or there. You know, they have to kind of keep people a little bit interested, so they upgrade the radio. They put the 10-way power adjustable seats in, the 360-degree camera. I went from an automatic to a manual, back to an automatic. Just little things like that. But is it really worth the money lost in doing that? Because until recently, with the craziness of the market, it was always a losing proposition. I mean, you don't go in, trade off your basically brand new Toyota Tacoma and get everything back that you paid for it, including the insurance that you spent, the tax, the tags, the title, all that stuff that goes into buying a new truck. Didn't happen like that in the past. Like I said, a little bit more common now with the craziness of the market. That's an exception. Number 2, color is a dumb reason. I'm being honest here. I've done it before. I have actually traded in my relatively new, and I'm talking within a year, maybe year and a half, but my relatively new Toyota Tacoma because I want a different color. How stupid is that? Color? I mean, think again of the money that I lost in trading in my truck just so I could have a different color. I mean, what I should have done is maybe added some accents and things. Heck, it would have been cheaper to have it painted. But I did it. I did it anyway. Number 3, the different trim levels really aren't enough. You know, we have the Workman version, which honestly is not for me, but if you use it for business, probably a good purchase. We have the SR, the SR5, the TRD Pro, the TRD Sport, the TRD Off-Road, the Limited. I mean, there are a lot of different trims for the Toyota Tacoma. But what do you really get? You know, I have the SR5 now, and I must admit I should have purchased this one to begin with. This is the truck for me, given what I do as a modder on YouTube. Didn't make a lot of sense to buy something that had more stuff on it and then take it off and throw it away and put other stuff on it. What else do you really get? Well, as I mentioned, you can get a 360-degree camera. You can get some different aesthetic things. Maybe some different wheels. Maybe a TRD badge on the back. It'll say sport or off-road or whatever. I take them off anyway. That doesn't make a lot of sense. What about on the front? A scoop, a non-functional hood scoop. Would have made more sense to buy one. You can actually buy hood scoops, you know. Paint it and then bolt it on the truck itself. Would have served the same function, which is nothing, but it would have given me that aesthetic look that I do like with the sports. I actually traded one off once because I wanted that hood scoop. It was the primary reason for doing it, as well as the color. Not a very wise thing to do. I should have just bought an aftermarket one and slapped it on. Number 4, fix what you have. it's cheaper. Now, I'm talking about if your Toyota Tacoma has some issue. You know, maybe there's something wrong with it. On my Voodoo Blue truck, and not everybody knows this, even though I've talked about it on the channel briefly before, but I had a torn CV axle boot. Somehow it ripped. I think it was because of the angle. I lifted it too high and caused a bad angle, and that ripped the boot. Well, if you're familiar with that, behind that boot, or encapsulated underneath that boot, if you will, is grease and lubricant and oil and stuff. And of course, when you rip the boot, all that comes out. It ends up underneath the truck on everything. I had it on everything. I had to clean it up. Now, you need to fix it, but it really doesn't affect you right away. You can go for a while. It's not like it's gonna strand you or something on the side of the road, depending on what you're doing. So it wasn't really a big deal as far as that goes. But just having something wrong with the truck that I knew I couldn't fix myself. Number one, I don't have the knowledge nor the tools to take care of something like that. But I'd have had to take it into the shop, pay more money, and that's when you start to justify getting a new one, right? Well, I'd have to spend $600, $1,000, $1,500, whatever it is to have that thing done professionally at the shop, and I'm talking at the dealership. I can, in essence, just put that money towards the next one. That's how I justified it, you see. And it wasn't the whole reason that I traded that truck in. Matter of fact, it was a very small part of the reason. But nonetheless, if I'm being honest, it was part of the reason. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Even if it would have cost me $1,500, would have been cheaper than trading it in during normal times. Not during this little weird time we're in, but during normal times, and taking that hit or that loss by getting rid of a truck that was only about a year old, something like that. Number 5, mods are done. Might as well get something else. What? You put the mods on, you can take them off and put different ones on. This is a great way, I think, to refresh the truck. I'm kind of in that period right now myself. I'm gonna change some things around. We're gonna go with a different look for the truck. If you watch the channel and you watch the videos, you may have an idea of what I'm doing, but I'm definitely gonna do that. We're gonna change things up. This is to kind of reinvigorate me, if you will, with the truck. Not to mention I just like to do this stuff, and I wanted to try something different anyway. So go out, get some different stuff, replace the mods that you've already done, and I'm really speaking more about aesthetics, but you can get into other things like the cold air intake, maybe the lift, the exhaust, maybe the whole suspension setup. In the end, it's going to be cheaper to do that than go out and buy a brand new truck, trade off everything that you put in your modded Toyota Tacoma, in essence giving it away, so that you can start all over and spend all that money again on another one. Don't forget to take into what it costs to trade off your truck or what you may lose in doing that in the first place. Remember, the dealers don't give you anything for the mods that you put on. They're not worth anything to the dealership. They want a truck that's cookie cutter bland, because that's what appeals to the most people. You're not going to get anything for them. Anyway, I am not buying any more 3rd generation Tacomas. I have learned my lesson. After about 5 or 6, we're sticking with this one. We're just gonna kind of change it around, do different things to it, stuff like that. That's my plan. Of course, when the 4th gen comes out, I'll have a decision to make. Do I trade this one in for the 4th gen or keep both to kind of compare and contrast them? Something else I'm thinking about. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know if you've ever traded your Tacoma in for any of those reasons. I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. RobMotive MT, all about mini trucks. Currently, the 2022 Hyundai Santa Cruz, and RobMotive JT, all about the Jeep Gladiator. Have a look, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.